Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this.
But the whistle goes down. New life for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
And joining me now, I'm delighted to say, is Matt Gray. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hello, mate.
Oh, hi.
You got the
Sorry,
wrong Matt Gray again, didn't you? You keep ringing me, and you need that gaffer, didn't you? You keep
Sorry,
ringing
Matt.
me. God's sake.
Sorry, did I wake you again?
Yes. God's
Sorry,
sake.
dude. Sorry,
Goodbye.
bye. See you later. And that was obviously Matt Gray, our former player, who there's an interview with him coming out in the next few days. I'll keep you all posted. Great sport for doing that for me. Thanks, Matt. And can you believe that neither of us has got any formal training in acting at all? That's all off the cuff. We got new careers waiting for us. But joining me now is really Matt Gray. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, you.
Very well, thank you. I didn't know, and I'm not sure if you remember, but you did have a conversation with Matt a few years back. I think you were at Eastleigh.
Right. Yeah.
He said it was very confusing because you rang up and said, "Oh, is that Matt?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "It's Matt Gray." And he's like, "No, I'm Matt Gray."
No, I remember coming across Matt several times, and a good player he was for Sutton as well. So I certainly remember. Certainly remember the days when he was playing in the chocolate and amber,
bombing up and down. He's in Australia now, and he's chosen an AFL team, the Hawthorns, I think, just simply because they play in chocolate and amber.
Oh, right.
That was his whole reason for it. But yeah, it was a very good sport. Nice little chat with him.
Yeah, we'll say hello to him next time we speak to him.
We will do.
Yeah.
Keeps getting tagged in on Twitter as you.
Yeah.
But here to talk about yourself, and essentially there will be a question, because the only question I was asked to ask you was about signings. But what I'll do is we'll have a little chat first, get you off guard, and then I'll jump in with something later on. But I wanted to talk to you mostly about your time at Sutton thus far. I know there's been sort of different things going on, different seasons. I really wanted to give you a chance to go through mostly last season without getting all emotional like you did at the Meet the Managers evening.
Yeah.
Get it all out.
Yeah, I think I'm okay now.
But so you sort of took over. So I thought it was at the tail end of the season, but when I looked, it was officially May the 1st of the season had ended, I think. And you took over from Doz. And fair to say that first summer was a bit tricky with lots of big players leaving, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. I think we lost Downer, Jamie, Rory, and a few others. How were you kind of feeling at that point when suddenly everyone's up in sticks and going off elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure the three you mentioned. Simon Down, I think, was a bit before me.
But it might have been before.
Yeah, it was a bit before. Rory, we tried to sign, but unfortunately didn't. You know, he chose elsewhere. And did you mention Jamie there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie stayed and played for probably the first half of the season. Right. But no, I felt I was fortunate, to be honest, to come in and work under Bairdy and Doz for the second half of the season, to certainly get a feel for the players and the characters, and being in and around them, obviously in training sessions and on a match day. And I certainly, when I got the job on as you say, 1st of May, It was, yeah, I felt I had a real close look at what was already in the squad, and ones I wanted to keep and ones that I wanted to move on. So that was a huge advantage to me. I felt at the time. Raw was probably the only one that I wanted to keep at the time, who I didn't manage to. I remember transfer listing a few and getting a few out, and then just working with what I got, and then the season sort of taking shape from there. Really, as you say, Dale Bennett was a player who soon retired. Excuse me, who soon retired. Not long into that season, and he felt his age and career and the travelling that he was doing from up in Hertfordshire, that it was a bit too much for him. So we wish Dale all the best, and I still speak to him now. He's a very good agent. I still have with Dale. So, and then Jamie Collins, who I've known for years. I've known him since I was a 19, 20-year-old. So I've known Jamie years, but he was very honest as well with where he felt I wanted to go with the team in terms of the way I wanted to play, and then his stage of his career and his legs, and he didn't feel he could probably keep up with it, and everyone gets that feeling, and Jason Goodliff obviously talks about that as well. When you get to that age as a player, and you just know you're not there yet, that half a yard, and your legs aren't doing what your mind's telling you to do. So it was a big loss for me at the time. But I was thankful for Jamie to stay on and be part of the setup and be a huge link between the dressing room and myself. So, it was a difficult start. But when you're new to a job and you're inheriting a squad, you're certainly looking to think how you can shape things, and you got in your mind how you want to do things, and in your mind players that would suit what you wanted to do. But I think with anyone, and unfortunately in the modern day world of football, that managers aren't given the time. But I feel that's probably the biggest thing was really being able to have the time to really shape the signings, the recruitment, and coaching sessions and style of play, and many ways that I want my team to play to be able to get results is having time to do that. And thankfully I've said many times, with the unbelievable chairman and board that we've got, 2 wins, 3 draws in the first 5, and then 1 win in 14. Certainly tested that, didn't it? So,
he put me in my place a little bit when I spoke to him a while back, because I remember lots of people furiously delete things and say they never said it, but at the time there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's just it's a backroom appointment. It's the easy option." When I put this to Bruce, he wasn't very happy with me at all. I was like, no, it wasn't me saying it. But he said you were really impressive in the interview. And he did mention that where people had said, well, did you ever think of potentially, had you made the wrong decision? And he was like, how can anyone come in and put their stamp on a team with other people's players? And I wish I'd just released it and said to the EFL, so look, this is what you need to play to all your chairmen, because it's not, you can't have someone coming in with someone else's players and then go, well, you're not performing.
Yeah, no.
That was going to be something I wanted to say.
And that's why I'm so lucky. So, I'm lucky to have that chairman and board, as I've said, who are unbelievably supportive through that run. I'd like to think I'm honest, and would always be honest with them on how I felt the results were going and what I felt I needed and how I needed to shape things. And that probably came around that time when we always talk about the game that changed everything, the Torquay away. I think it was early November of that season, and we just dropped into the relegation zone for the first time. Torquay were top of the form table, second in the league. But those 2 weeks, we had a weekend off the week before. So we had a 2-week break and just changing things around, signing Nick Zanev. I think it was one of the first games John Barden played at fullback. Signing Louis John from Cambridge United on loan. Highly recommended by Mickey Stevens. Then Eastman not really being fit for that early part. Bugel not really being fit for that early part. Tommy Wright at the time not fit through that period. So suddenly we were getting those 3 key players back, along with Barden gets slotting in at right back and doing so well with the new goalkeeper, with Louis John, and suddenly everything started to click, and away we went.
Yeah, and that was so that first season, I think that's where COVID got us towards the end of it, isn't it? And we ended up going on the points per game. I think we got 50 points anyway. So we got the magic number anyway.
Yeah, I think, and someone out there would probably easily correct me. Tony Dunn would probably correct me when he sees it, but I think we're about 8 points off the playoffs with 8 games to go. So I don't think we would have got there, but the momentum that we had and the way we were going, I certainly don't think we would have been far off.
Yeah, I mean, there was. I was talking to some of the Gandamanian guys when we were at Wigan, and they were just chit chatting, trying to tell me, yes, you need to interview Matt, and I was like, oh, I'm too scared. But they were saying just little things like even in that terrible run, you were in the bar chatting, talking to people. They said there was something about I can't remember the exact conversation. I'm terrible for that, but it was something about corners that you were trying a corner, and they were like, "Why are you doing that?" And you just sat and explained it all in detail, and they were like, all right, fair enough. We don't actually know what we're talking about, but and they were banging the drum, kept saying to people, approach Matt. He'll talk to you. He'll tell you his thoughts and plans. But that season, obviously, learning curve for everyone, building your new team, and clearly laying the groundwork for a magnificent season, which I know you've spoken at length about, but none of us got to see it. And we're watching you all on screens going, this isn't really happening. This isn't real. It's a computer game. But how was it like being there, the momentum, knowing, hang on a minute, this is, when did you kind of know this was going to be something big, something good?
Very early on. And even during COVID, COVID was, people use that lockdown period, if you like, for many different ways. And it probably really helped me at the time, after having that nearly a full season of being a manager, to really reflect on how we do things, constant Zooms with Jace and the rest of the staff, planning and preparing and analysing us in so many aspects to try and get it right and hit the ground running next year. And I knew with the following season, I knew the momentum that we had, if we can keep that recruitment right, and certainly the team spirit was there, as I've said many times, led by Eastie and Harry. I knew a big signing was Isaac Alafe and trying to make sure we kept him. And unfortunately missed out on him, and that was bad news for me at the time, with him going initially on loan to St Johnstone, but they up in Scotland started their season a month before ours. And I remember after every pre-season game that year, keep looking at Tanto not playing, unused sub or 5 minutes here, and I kept ringing Mill every Monday morning. They must have got sick of me saying, how long is he going to put up with that up there for? And we didn't get him back for the first 2 games, but he came and was part of Weymouth, which was the 3rd game. So I knew once we'd got him over the line that was the missing piece of the jigsaw. I then really believed in what we had as a group and how to get results. And I think I've said this before in interviews, when I got the fixture list, I really knew that the first 3 games were going to be key and big. And if it's really what myself and Jason believe in, that we can achieve something, and achieve something for me then was get to the playoffs. I certainly wasn't thinking about winning the league, but certainly get to the playoffs. And no disrespect to those 3 teams at all at the time, but Aldershot, Maidenhead first, Aldershot on the Tuesday, and Weymouth, that I didn't feel they were going to be teams challenging at the top of the league. So I thought, if we're going to make a real stamp, can we go and put 7, maybe 9 on the board early on before playing Notts County on the Tuesday night, who were my favourites at the start of the season to go and win the league. I thought if you finish above them, you'd win it, under a great manager in Neil Ardley. So we managed to go and get those 9 points. Certainly put us on the road, and then playing Notts County and a weird game with no crowd there, because I'd imagine that atmosphere would have been very good on a Tuesday night, and it was 0-0 all the way, and a very good 0-0 as well. Two teams going right at it. When unfortunately we make this mistake late on and concede at the death and lose 1-0. But I think that's probably when I knew, after that game, as mad as it sounds and as gutted as I felt that we'd lost the game, but I knew waking up that next morning on a Wednesday that I'm thinking, well, if we've just gone toe to toe there with, for me, the favourites, then I'm thinking we're not going to be far away. But every time we lost the game, we just backed it up with another win, and it just kept on going.
Yeah. There's something to be said. Obviously, you're in the change room, but after the loss, you can just see everyone and go, "Yeah, this ain't happening very often." I can just tell that they're not going to.
Yeah.
And then to come towards the end, we're all, again, that disbelief of, we're still up there. This is a bit weird. What's going on? And then it kind of towards the end of the season, there was changing positions, losing games, and then grabbing it back, as you say. I think it was two years getting on for that you didn't lose back-to-back games, which is incredible. I think it's only happened once this season. Yeah. So that's incredible, and it shows the fighting spirit.
Yeah, in the league, guys. In the league.
Yeah.
Back-to-back league games. Yeah.
We only like the pizza cup. It's all right. We don't care about the rest. But yeah, so we obviously all got back in for the Hartlepool game, which was, I maintain, a very strange atmosphere. And I knew it was on TV. We all felt very lucky to be there. But I think it was only when like the third goal, or maybe the second goal went in, that everyone suddenly realised, hang on a minute, we're going to win this. Because it was just a real strange, flat atmosphere. And I was thinking, Christ, if someone's watching this on TV, they'll be like, did they let crowds back in, or if they not? I knew you'd mentioned that on the day you were quite nervy and excited and all the rest of it. But how was when the match started? How were you kind of feeling? Did you just forget everything and just go on to the 90 minutes, or
yeah,
were you still looking?
It's me trying to not get emotional now because it's a proud day, isn't it? So
sorry.
No, I'm really joking. I think it was probably certainly very emotional from the Saturday night, because we were playing on the Sunday from in Barnet, picking up the point we needed them to get at Torquay on a Saturday afternoon, which meant that we could win it at home to Hartlepool and BT the following day. And it was probably the build-up of the 2-3 months running into that, of the real belief that we could win the league and we're certainly in a title race. To then suddenly see the line in front of you was a very strange feeling. And it's in your hands to go and get the job done tomorrow, after seeing that Barnet Torquay result. So a weird feeling, one I'll never forget, a very emotional one. Sunday morning, day of the game, and very edgy, nervous. And it's not like me, to be honest, not like me normally, but that's the worst I've felt before a game. Certainly, we had a routine. I'd pick Jason up on the way in. We'd always get a coffee in Worcester Park and have our routine before a game and get into the club. And seeing Shan, who works at the club as well, the volunteers, and she set me and Jason off, two good guys. And she set us up. We think, how are we going to cope with this today? But the whole build up in the office and everything was horrible, very, very slow. But I always walk into the change room and do just a very short speech, short chat, talk, whatever you want to call it, about an hour and a half before kickoff. And that was the first time that I'd seen the players since the training the day before, and obviously after the Barnet Torquay result. And I knew the second I walked in the door that we'd won it. Yeah, an hour and a half before, just seeing the lads, the mentality, seeing Eastman captain in the corner, how calm he was. And honestly, it was like everything just went from me. And I was so calm, so calm and relaxed. And just thought, we've won it.
Excellent. Yeah, it was very, as I say, it's a very surreal experience, and just amazing. And then obviously with the trophy celebration, so I ran away at that point because there was too many people, and I'm like, no, I can't stay here. But then we had the busiest summer with no break and everything going at 100 miles an hour, desperate to sign everyone onto full-time contracts. Sorry,
contracts, yeah.
And all the other work that was going on behind the scenes. Again, how did that feel with all the different plates spinning in the air? Did you have an overview, or did you just kind of go, I have no idea what's going on here?
No, it was a manic period. And obviously from the celebrations on the Sunday, and I'm not going to lie, the Monday and the Tuesday, I think I woke up on the Wednesday and went into the office at the club, and I was with Jason, the rest of the staff and a couple of directors, and Sonny sat there and went, right, what we got to do now? And it was the busiest 4 weeks ever, 7 days a week. I managed to go away for a week, but you're just working non-stop. And it was an unbelievably hectic period with so much like you wouldn't believe having to be done. And that's just from me on the football side of things, let alone the ground and stuff I didn't have to get thankfully involved in and leave to the board to sort out and organise in the pitch and getting it ready and playing away from home start. And it was an unbelievably busy 4 weeks and pre-season. And to be honest with you, it feels like until just now that you probably all of us haven't had a break really, and it's been a long slog. And thankfully, we've had a little bit of a break now, and we've come back refreshed.
Nice and refreshed, yeah. And then obviously we had all those games away. Fair to say the results didn't go as we'd hoped, but strangely, I'm quite pessimistic in general. But when this season kicked off, I'm like, do you know what? We're going to be fine. I didn't think we'd be as fine as we were, but I was like, we're going to be fine. There's going to be no real problems with us. But those first few games that we went with Forest Green so close, and all those games, it was just tiny details that meant that we lost or drew the game rather than winning. It was like, you know what, we're not out of place in this league. I know the results hadn't gone our way, but were you having the same feeling that? Just frustration.
Yeah, totally. I just, you just know, not just being a manager, but being assistant manager for 12 years at different clubs, you do just have little spells sometimes where sometimes certain things go for you, and you might have a little run where you might feel you're a little bit fortunate to, say, win 4 or 5 on the bounce, or win 4 and draw 1 out of 5. So I know sometimes it can go the other way, but I think it's very important, certainly as a manager, to keep very level, even when you're winning, as well as when you're losing, just to make sure you maintain that consistency in what you do and your message to the players, and what your beliefs are. So, no, I was very calm and relaxed, disappointed because I felt we deserved more out of those games early on, and I'm disappointed we didn't get as many points as we probably deserved, and a good showing in the League Cup at Cardiff as well, a good performance there. So I thought there was certainly positives, and no, I wasn't getting carried away at all. And as you say, we soon got that result, and away we went.
Yeah, the League Cup, I think the guy who came on to score their winner was, I can't remember, it's a £5 or £10 million player that came on. It was like, oh my God, I don't think we spent that in our entire existence, let alone on one player. But the most difficult one, I think, was the first home game when we were winning in 84 minutes, and then just a collective around the ground of, and then we unfortunately lost. But the Stevenage game, which we did win, I know we won it, and I know that's a big moment, and I know that's really, really important, but I think my favourite moment was when Paul has snapped Dundo coming on, and his little face as he was coming on, making his debut. Not just a run around for 10 minutes, Dundo, you'll be fine. It's like, we need someone to hold that ball up there, get on. Yeah. And his face was just like, so how did that feel, given Dundo his Football League debut?
It's brilliant, just someone who's made the appearance that he's made, and the service he's done for the football club, and to be such a great guy and character in and around the place, and a huge help to me both on and off the pitch, for someone who really looks after himself and has allowed himself to carry on playing at his age, to make his league debut and get the publicity that he did off the back of it. He thoroughly deserved it, and I was delighted for him.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier about some of the older players, it must be frustrating for a load of them looking at him thinking, why is he able to run so much and I can't do it?
Well, that's testament to him. And again, to reiterate your point there, it's not me just putting him on to do him a favour. Oh, here you go. You're just crossing the line because no, you go on there, Dundo, and beat Dundo, and look after that ball and keep it up there for us, and make sure you can try and see the game out, and that's exactly why we used him.
Yeah, perfect. And then the season, he just went from strength to strength at that point. The results just kept coming, and we ended up basically in and around the playoffs pretty much all season. Was that part of your expectations, or were you similar to us going, yeah, we'll be mid-ish table, or were you thinking, no, we could definitely have a tilt at this?
Honestly, I'd have bitten your hand off just to making sure we're a Football League club again after all what we had to go through in the summer and where we've come from, and trying to establish ourselves as a first year as a full-time professional club and a full-time and first year as a Football League club. That it was very much just making sure that we are one going into the following season. But as soon as I knew we were starting to put those results and the 50-point marker was getting closer and closer, then you certainly started looking up. We managed to get those points on the board a lot earlier than I thought, to be honest. And now the shackles are off a little bit, and you can certainly look up where we were in the table, and certainly put ourselves in the mix for the player for a promotion spot, and we were right to the death as well.
Yeah, I mean there was great fun on social media because obviously we were flying at the time, and I think to a man all of us were saying 50 points, 50 points, 50 points, and with people like Gab Sutton, his loads of EFL knowledge was creasing up at us going, you're having a great season, you're in the automatic spots, why are you talking about 50 points? We'll talk about everything else after 50 points, thank you very much. Yeah. We know what we're about, we'll do it the right way. But what does that mean to you, where the fans are so realistic that they're saying, yeah, this is what we need to do, everything else we'll get there, but it must help when you've got such realistic fans.
Yeah, exactly. The whole club is on the same page, isn't it? You know, the board, the supporters, the sponsors, the staff, the players. We all know exactly what we're doing and where we're going, and there's no sort of department of the football club pulling in a wrong direction, and that for me is what breeds success. The supporters are certainly getting where we are and where we feel we should be, and what we've got a realistic chance of achieving. So I think that's a huge bonus that all the club is facing in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I came away from the Bristol Rovers home match, and I think we drew that, and I came away a bit annoyed because it was like a late penalty, and I was sort of stomping through Collingwood Park, and then suddenly I kind of went, I've got the ump that we've just drawn with Bristol Rovers, like a last 5-minute penalty. Get hold of yourself here, Mike. What's going on?
I'm not going to lie, Mike, I did too, though.
Yeah. It was a little bit. No, let's have a reality check with Sutton United. But yes, seeing some of these teams that we would have been delighted to get in the cup competition a few years ago, it's just absolutely crazy to know that we're actually on the same level as them. But then we came to the Pizza Cup, which you identified quite early, which I have to say at the time I was like, why is he talking about Wembley? Come on. But you'd said, yeah, this is what I want to do. It's a competition we've got a good chance in. So what was it that made you sort of identify that competition as something we could do well in?
Well, many reasons, a few reasons, to be honest. If you're going to get to Wembley, and certainly in a cup final, you obviously got the playoffs as an option. But that is the other three cups that we enter, the League Cup and the FA Cup, we're obviously not going to get there in. So this is a realistic opportunity for us to go and win a cup competition. And when you're trying to breed success and you're carrying on what you're doing, you want to win things both as an individual, as staff, players, and as a club. You want trophies. That's what we're in it for. And you want success. So it's a good opportunity for us to get success. So that was certainly a massive factor. I'm not going to lie, with the prize money as well, not that it's as big as the other two cup competitions, but every penny counts. And as I've probably heard Bruce say to me many times.
I genuinely, I'm not sure there's any other fan base that could sit there and reel off the prize money that's available to because it was like people saying, "Oh, I'm not sure about this competition." It's like, yeah, it's £10,000 a win. It's like, lovely. How can we do this? And there were people reeling off the prize money for the next round. So I'm like, how do you even find this information?
So that was a very important factor with all what we've had to spend as a football club, both on and off the pitch, to make the next step up. Again, that was a big factor. But also, you want to continue to win games, and you want to. And Crystal Palace was our first win of the season in the Papa John's, and 3-0 at home, and it got us going. And we beat Stevenage at home on a Saturday, and suddenly, we're back to winning ways. And you certainly want to continue to win games. You want to win everything you compete in. So that was a big factor, and the timing of the cups and the squad, and with me extending, making more signings within the squad, and competitive players. It certainly wasn't. I wasn't feeling at any time I was making the team weaker for the Papa John's. It was just freshening the team up with lads who probably hadn't played many minutes in the recent games, and that's all it was giving them an opportunity to get some minutes under their belt, to prove to me. To try and earn that shirt, to try and knock whoever out of the place, to try and get into the league team as well. And that's exactly how I'll be using it this year, and it'll be no different.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the Sutton Podcast. If you are new to the show, hello, and you are very welcome. Hope you enjoy what we do. It's a very simple format. We get a few people on to talk about the game that's just gone, and then we preview the next game coming up. We are available on most podcast platforms where you can listen, rate and review. If you find that we're not on your preferred platform, please let me know and I'll sort that for you. If anyone would like to support the podcast, you can find out how with more information on the website, which is www.suttonpodcast.com, and there's a tab where you can find out how to be a guest as well. Please find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok with the username @SuttonPodcast. Every like, follow and share is really appreciated. Hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you. And then we kind of scoot forward a little bit to January time. We didn't make any signings. Lots of teams around us did make signings. So we did make a signing. So we got Stuart in, but lots of teams were bringing in 7 or 8 different players, which just seemed really odd. Some it worked for, some it didn't. But then we got hit by just injury after injury, and it was. Other players were coming back probably too early because we had to play them. But again, how was that feeling? Were you feeling that we should have done something in January, or were you?
No, because I wouldn't
have it.
No, it's not that we didn't have it. You also, under Football League rules, you're only allowed 22 players in your squad, excluding goalkeepers and under 21s. So we would have been. There, I think we had 21, to be honest. So we were there or thereabouts on signings anyway. So if I'd had to sign it, or if I wanted to sign it, I'd have had to release 1 or 2 up. But the way we were going and the form we were in, the momentum we had, we did have the bodies, we did have the numbers, and we did have the quality. But it just unfortunately caught up with us a little bit in the month of March. And I'll put that down to several things where I feel I've been highlighting and wanting to improve. No base as a training ground, no facilities to do extra sessions, gym sessions, no gym on site. And not having that own base was a huge part of that. A little bit with staff as well, and improving the staff, and just making us all round that little bit more professional and structured, and just making the squad a little bit more robust. Yes, you need a little bit of luck with injuries at times, and anyone can get hit with injuries at any time. But I felt with the amount of games and at the stage of the season, that period between beating Wigan and the final was the worst we could get. We dropped points in that period, and then I felt, which I didn't like feeling, to be honest, because it's not us normally, and I pride myself on our team being fit and energetic and can match anyone physically. But unfortunately, that. And I said it to Jason leading up to the final, that I knew extra time was going to be too much for us, only purely because of the month previous and having either one group of players who have been playing every minute and travelling Saturday, Tuesday leading up to the final, or a group of players who hadn't had enough training sessions or minutes, who were coming back from injury, leading into the final. So that goal for Rotherham in the 90 whatever minute wasn't the equaliser for me. It certainly felt like the winner. As much as you're trying to rally around the lads and trying to get them going, I felt at the start of extra time, I looked at the team we had out there, and I thought we were going to need some unbelievable luck to maybe try and get this to penalties.
Yeah, so yeah, I felt that as well. I mean, the Wigan match was amazing all round, but you could just see that the big wide pitch, and you could just see it sapping. So I think if we'd gone to extra time there, we might have struggled as well. Obviously, we didn't need to, so that's good. But the final was just, the day itself was tremendous. I don't know how much you can kind of remember of the day, but what was that experience? I know the result wasn't what we wanted, but what was the experience of managing at Wembley?
Unbelievable. It's a boy a dream, isn't it? You know, to lead your team out of Wembley and to see 15,000 Sutton fans there as well. Unbelievable, and a day you'll never ever forget, and such a proud moment. So the build up, the day before, the morning, everything. Turn up at Wembley, it's just amazing. Into the dress rooms, and you know your team talks in that dress room, and as I say, leading the team out, and the supporters, and the national anthem as well, singing that on the home of English football was, again, a special moment. And then the performance that we put in for 90 minutes, and you're proud of your players and you're proud of your team. I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely gutted at the end. Absolutely gutted, and just after, Mike, just hard to talk to the players. Coming back on the bus was tough. Knowing we were going back to the ground, to be honest, I just wanted to go home, sit on the sofa and have a glass of red wine and just chill out. But the second we pulled into the car park and saw, I don't know how many supporters there waiting for us and in the bars, and it felt like we'd won.
Yeah, well, I'll come back to that in a moment. But yeah, it was the whole day was just mad, because I think I got to Wembley about 10 o'clock. So I was like, I'm savouring every second of this. I paid the most I've ever paid for a seat to watch Sutton United, and I don't think my backside sat in it at all, because we were all standing up, picking each other out. Everyone I see normally on a Saturday, I saw at Wembley, which is insane because there were so many different Sutton fans there. Yeah. I have to admit, in the 95th, 96th minute, I was standing just behind our goal, and I was like this, and I knew the tears were coming. I could just feel that as soon as that final whistle went, I was going to just burst into tears. And then the realization hit me: I'm going to be on Sky TV, the fat man in a yellow jacket, crying. And then the equaliser went in, and I went, "No, I'd rather be crying. I'd rather be ridiculed. Thank you. Take it back." But yeah, it was just so agonising. I've tried to justify it by saying if they'd scored in the 77th minute, I would have accepted it. But it was just such a difficult one. Yeah. I mean, you congratulated all the Rotherham players at the end. That was I don't know if you knew that was highlighted on social media, that you were congratulating everyone. But yeah, going back to the club, I don't normally do those kind of things. I'm not normally like, okay, that's it, I'm done now. But I was like, I can't. No, I have to go back because I don't know how many people are going to be there. And I think I got there about 10 minutes before you guys. And I happened to position myself just into that little corner, just as you're walking through into the main bar. So literally, I think Harry came in first, and he was a little bit, okay, yeah, thanks. And then the next one came in, was the same. And then suddenly someone else came in, realising the reception they're getting. And then Dean's walked in going, yeah! And it was like, okay, this is the type of night it's going to be. Yeah. And I think Taz left at 1:30. And he said it's busier than a normal Saturday. Yeah. And it was a Sunday night. Yeah. So, yeah, it was...
No, unbelievable reception for us to come back. And like I said, I was sitting on the bus. All I wanted to do was go home. But I'm so pleased when we came back and walked in and just saw everyone. And just shows what we are as a club.
Yeah, it was just me. And that's where Dundo said, hey, it's the podcast guy. So I love that. I got him to send me a recording of that as well. Yeah. So the season kind of went on, and we so close. And I've driven myself crazy looking at all the different games and all the different ways we could have got that extra couple of points. Have you done the same?
It's easy to, but I don't really do that, to be honest. Oh, that goal there, or this chance there, or every team can say exactly the same, and everyone would finish on 100+ points if they could get that in, maybe like that, wouldn't they? So no, unfortunately, listen, 76 points.
It's mental.
I think Tony Dolbe told me it was the first team in 15 years in League Two not to get in the playoffs with that tally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and again, it was the highlight was we're 1 point away from the playoffs. It was 4 points away from automatics, which again is just a little bit crazy that we're talking about that for Sutton United. It's like we could have got a double promotion.
Yeah.
But it probably would have been a bit early. I think League One probably would have been. I know there's not. There's not too much difference for the ground, but I think it would have been quite a jump for us. But it leads us nicely onto. I mean, it's a congratulations first of all as well for that's 2 seasons in a row you've got record finishing position for Sutton United. So just one more, yeah.
Try and make it 3, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. But it leads us into obviously this summer now. You've had a little breakaway. There's been a bit more upheaval with the squad, maybe sort of moving players on that you're kind of wanting to replace. As you mentioned, you've only come up to 22. I'm not going to go too much on this because there's obviously some of it's quite raw today. But Dave was probably expected. It could have left him. I'm not saying any deal was done, but we kind of was not expecting, but could have gone in January. There was clubs sniffing around him. Is that right? Or
there's certainly been interest, and I think there's interest in our players because of how well we've done and where we've come from. So certainly teams higher up the pyramid would be looking at Sutton United and seeing what's going on there, and how well David's done, my first sign as a manager, and how well he's done for this club in the 3 years, and what's a huge part of the success he's played. He's been outstanding both on and off the pitch. He's a top guy, a top character. So when unfortunately we miss out on the chance of going to League One, I think that would have certainly helped us keep him. But when we haven't, I felt it was the right time for him and in his career. And Sutton, I've got a rich history of not standing in people's way and letting them improve their careers and move up the pyramid. And there's been many players who have done so over the years. So I'm proud to add to that as a manager as well, and to sign him from Worthing, pluck him out of non-league, and then to go and sell him and move him on up the pyramid. And everyone at Sutton will wish him well, and certainly look at his career, what he did for us, with great pride, and think of many games he lit and got everyone off their seat, and some great goals he scored for us. So we wish David all the best, and that's football. I think unless you're maybe a Man City or a Real Madrid, I think if any player is doing well for you, there's always another club who will try and come and get one.
I mean, and to give hope to everyone, you got him as a replacement for Rory, wasn't it? At the same time, So all you've got to do is do that again.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. Yeah,
and that's what we work hard to do.
And others, obviously, no level of disrespect to anyone at all, but others you could probably argue, well, actually, would they be part of the plans? For example, Kenny, brilliant player, but he kind of slipped down the pecking order a little bit, and it's not really fair to sort of keep him around to just play a bit part.
No.
Richie was he kind of? I know he wanted to sort of move closer to home, which anyone would. But was that kind of expected, or?
I knew about Richie probably since January. So it's always difficult, and it always depends on the individual basis, really, of the personal circumstances for that player. But Richie is a northern lad and has got family up north, and a partner and kids who couldn't come and move down south. And it was left for Richie for the majority of the week to be down here on his own. And as I say, it all depends on the personal circumstances of every individual, really. And Richie didn't feel that was going to be a problem at the time. As the season develops, he sort of gave me plenty of warning, really. and then confirmed that at the end of the season that even though he's on contract, that it certainly wasn't going to be able to work for him next year. And what I don't want is a player who, not he doesn't want to be here for certain reasons. I know he got on great with himself and Jason and all the players, and he was a good character and he did well for us. And he absolutely loves Sutton and was desperate to stay. If we were around the corner, there'd be absolutely no chance he'd be leaving. But Richie, and I'm not certainly going to stand in his way of making his home and family life a lot better for him and his children as well. So we managed to get a fee off Barrow and allow Richie to move back home. So that worked for all parties. And like you say, that unfortunately the likes of Ben White, whose contract's finished, and Kenny Davis and Stuart Nelson and Ricky Korbawa, again, probably limited game time for all of them that I felt would help them to go on and carry on playing and get some minutes elsewhere. And I do feel it's then important to freshen your squad up sometimes and not get stale. So yes, Richie I knew about for quite a while. David, I thought that would always materialise, and we knew we would be welcoming him to move on higher and certainly not stand in his way. Unfortunately, with Dean Bazanis, I'd actually agreed a contract and shaken hands on it, but that's another story. So we unfortunately lose Dino, who's been brilliant for us. He's done really well in the 2 years, and has been a huge part of the history. Obviously in the National League winning season and the penalty shoots out in the Papa Johns and some top performances. So we wish him well for the future as well.
Yeah, because I was going to mention when you were saying, doing well, we're going to get attention. Some Reading fans were saying that Paul Ince has been down 3 or 4 times looking at him throughout the season. So it's like, okay, didn't realise that was happening. And yeah, it's difficult, especially getting an offer from a championship club. You don't know, but yeah, wish him well. And also, someone mentioned that he's played the most games for us that any club he's ever been at. So we're always going to be there. Yeah. But obviously, working hard. Don't want to give anything away because obviously we're coming up towards the end of the year where the contracts are going to be up. So obviously, I don't want anything to be given away that shouldn't be. But if you were given, it's going to be a magical, wonderful world. Matt Gray is going to get everything that he wants happen in all the negotiations. How many players are we kind of looking at bringing in? And
when will this be going out, Mike? Because we're announcing a signing tomorrow.
Probably tonight.
Yeah.
But tomorrow.
We're announcing a signing tomorrow on Tuesday.
Okay.
They'll go out around lunchtime. Another couple, hopefully by the end of the week. Without saying who and where and when, until they get released. I want to sign 2 goalkeepers, and I was always having the intention of re-signing Brad House and getting him out on loan. So I'll be looking to do that and getting him a run of games, which I feel will be important for him, and then seeing where he is this time next year. And then also I've got the possibility of recalling him if something happened to one of the other 2. So I'll be signing 2 goalkeepers. Obviously, the competition we got for centre halves, I'm happy. 2 right backs in Kizzy and Barden, finding it out, competition all over. Kiz can also play centre half if I need to. You got, I'll be signing another left back to compete with Rob Milson. We've got midfield, Harry Eastie, Ali Smith, Adam Lovett, who's re-signed. You've also got the option of John going in there and Rob Milson going in there. So I feel I'm happy in centre midfield. We've got Enzio, we've got Will Randall, but I'll be looking to sign 2 more wingers. So our competition to them. And then we've got, unfortunately, Richie Bennett leaving us and Tanto going back to Millwall. So I'll be looking to replace both of those. And then we've got Killian Kouassi coming through. We'll see how he gets on in pre-season as well. I will and do want 5 strikers within the squad, as in not out on loan. So I think Killian's got a huge future for us. And he's already made his league debut, and he's come back fitter and stronger. And we'll see how he is in pre-season, and then we'll judge at the end of pre-season there whether he is one to be in one of the 5 to compete, or we feel it's probably best for his development to maybe get some more games somewhere and carry on training with us. And that will then probably depend on whether I signed that additional striker. So to cut a long story short, there will be signing coming in without a doubt. And as I've said, 2 centre forwards, 2 wingers, a left back, and 2 goalies.
Marvellous. So Adam will be featuring with us rather than going on loan again?
Yeah, I think Adam's done well. He was really unfortunate during the COVID season and didn't have much games with the National South stopping. So he had a large period without playing games. He went to Tunbridge Angels, did well, got quite a few minutes, quite a few games under his belt, and then he got recalled, came in, did very well. It was a little bit harsh to lose his spot in the team, actually, with, Easton Herring and Ali being out and then Adam coming in and doing well. So he's certainly competing for his shirt. We've got competition all over. He's got to try and compete with those 3 as well as I've already mentioned, a Barden and a Milson option. Who can go in there. So centre midfield, I feel I'm completely fine. I feel I've got a backup in centre half with obviously Kobe. The unfortunate season he had, he's going to push the other 2 all day long. I'd like to think I've pretty much covered the squad there, and there'll be signings coming in without a doubt.
And we've got Roman from the academy. He planned to be in and around, or again
probably Roman would be one I felt would maybe be a bit too soon already. I don't want him to go out just yet. I feel it's important that he comes in and has a few matches with us in pre-season, and he'll feature in some of the games definitely, and certainly some of the earlier ones. A huge, again, academy prospect. Marvin and the boys at the academy have done a great job. And Killian, was a great sign of that last year. So we've gone and had another academy signing into our ranks, which just goes to show what a great job that they're doing. So Roman, again, has got all the attributes, and we really look forward to working with him and getting him out and getting some men's football and seeing how he develops over the season.
Lovely. And are you looking forward to sending any of them to the enemy now that Steve's down at Carshalton?
I know this is really well with Steve McKim, and if I can help him in any way, I'll certainly be helping him. Even though they might be the enemy.
I did roundly boo him when he. He was mad that I couldn't understand why he got sacked, but that's their business. So on to the off the pitch stuff. I know you guys have been working really, really hard to keep seeing the adverts for sort of backroom staff, and obviously you've had the training ground thing, which we'll talk on in a sec. But is your backroom team basically set now, or is this? I think there's still a physiotherapist. Is there?
Yeah. I'll just looking to improve the staff with two members, and thankfully I've got Sean Miles in, who comes in as strength conditioning coach. Who's I've been very impressed with him. He's an excellent appointment for us, and again, someone on that rehab and injury prevention, and his expertise is certainly going to help us where I felt we lacked a little bit last year, along with the facilities as you mentioned. But I am looking. We have to have a chartered physio as one of or the head of the department, if you like. So we need one. Unfortunately, Bobby isn't. He's a sports therapist, along with we've got young Ben Ginn and Catherine Chambers, who will all be a huge part of our medical team. But I do need to bring that chartered physio in, which is what we're working hard to do at the moment. So that's the last appointment I need to make on the staff. And then everyone else I'm really happy with. Dundo will link in with Sean on the strength conditioning side. He's been helping out already with myself and Jason on some football sessions, some little shooting drills, passing drills, and typical Dundo would be a jack of all trades and help out where needed. So huge member of the staff as well. I'm still registered as a player. Mickey Stevens still being with us, and he comes in 1 day a week for training and then match days, and an invaluable part he is. Andy Little, goalkeeping coach. Obviously Terry Brennan, massive on the recruitment and director of football. We've got John Davis, the analyst, and Clive, the kit man, and hopefully I haven't forgotten anyone there.
No, I was trying to tick them all off as you're doing it. I think we've got everyone.
Yeah.
And I know you moved from North London to nearer us recently, and now we've got a training ground way over Heathrow way.
Halfway back, But that's just the way it goes, and I think I've said it many times. We've been desperately looking for our own base and our own training ground, and we've hit the post with a couple, things haven't pulled off, but we've and I know SUFC TV are going to do a big thing on it in the coming weeks, because we officially haven't got it. QPR are in there, the training ground in Harlington, and it's a top facility for us. But we've just taken time to get it as we want it and as ours. And once we have, we'll do certainly a piece with that and show everyone around and what good facilities that we've got. And it certainly helps us when we're trying to attract players as well. All right, it's not round the corner from our ground, but believe you me, there's the majority of the squad. There's a few disgruntled with the extra travelling they've got to do, but there's certainly a few that have it's brought it a little bit closer to them as well. So it swings and roundabouts there, but no, we're really pleased with the facility.
Tell them house prices near Heathrow is quite low, so if they want to move there. So will it be the whole? I know SUTV are doing, but will it be the whole club there, the academy as well, or is the academy?
No,
from Spain,
it's just the first team based there. Yeah.
Okay, and opportunities for us all to visit. I'm joking.
Yeah, no, yeah. We've done it before, and I did it my first season, but obviously then it was the COVID season.
Yeah,
and we really didn't have a base last year, but. No, I'll maybe speak to the club. It's reminded me of something there, Mike. If we could do like a fans open day or something like that, when we can invite people in. Yeah, the doors are certainly open, where supporters can come and have a look around and watch us train and meet players. And I think we have done that before in my first season. As long as hopefully the supporters are willing to travel that little bit further to come and see us and see the facilities, we'd love to open the doors one day and let everyone come and have a look around.
I did look it up just to be like, oh my God, that's miles away. And then I looked and it's about 90 minutes away. So it's not.
Yeah, it depends what you can do it quicker than that.
Yeah.
Depending on what time of day we go, we'd get in there nice and early and ready to go. So it all depends on the M25 traffic.
Exactly. But I've kept you quite a long time. But just to wrap up, what is your ideal season? What have you set targets this year? I know 50 points, we know that. But if it goes perfectly, wonderfully, how's the season going to look for us this year?
Just win as many games as we possibly can, because that is the drive. We don't get carried away with the last result, win, lose or draw. We just look to the next one. We try and go and put another result there. And FA Cup runs, League Cup runs. I want to try and progress in those competitions. Papa John's, I want to walk up those steps as winners, because that was the hardest part of the day, and then continue to put results on the league and keep this unbelievable momentum that the club's got on and off the pitch, keep this unbelievable feel-good factor that we've got going. 4,100 supporters at home in a league game, last home game of the season, is unbelievable. There's an unbelievable buzz around the club, and I just want to make sure we keep everyone together and keep going. It's going to be tough. There'll be good spells, there'll be bad spells, but as I say, fortunately, we've only been moving in one direction for a long time now, and I don't want that to peter out. I want to keep driving this club forward. So that's certainly the aim. Yeah,
perfect. I mean, the 4,000 odd was exceptionally good. So I know it was Bradford, but they only had a few away tickets. Yeah. So I think they only had like 500 or so. Yeah. Actually, that was a huge, mostly Sutton crowd.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's at least good and bad to that, because my spot's getting very crowded. But other than that, I'm delighted, obviously. Thank you very, very much. I will fire this out and let people know, and we look forward to hearing about our new signings over the next week or so. It's calm a few people down. I'm very excited. And really good luck for the season. Hopefully I'll talk to you at some point again, but not when things are going in the balance. I'll leave you.
No, Mike, come on at any time, and if you want to speak to anyone else, either staff members or any players, you just give me a shout, and I think you're doing a great job, and we'll all support you. So anyone you want to speak to at any time, just let me know and we'll get them on.
Okay, thanks a lot, Matt. Cheers. Take care. United! 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 United!